From the Detroit Free Press, I'm Robin Chan with today's Voice Briefing. It's Friday, March 20th, 2026.
This is Natalie Davies with the Detroit Free Press. Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy charged a former Detroit police sergeant with multiple counts of kidnapping and first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Benjamin Wagner, who worked at DPD from 1989 until 2017, allegedly kidnapped and sexually assaulted 5 women and girls ages 15 to 23. The cases related to the charges happened between 1999 and 2003. Prosecutor Kim Worthy said that part of the delay to bring the charges to the cases comes from the backlog of 11,341 sexual assault test kits that were found untested at a Detroit police storage facility in 2009. To read the timeline of the cases and the details of the charges, visit freep.com.
This is Free Press dining and restaurant critic Lindsay Green. When Merrill opened its West Village location in 2018, the concept of a butcher shop and restaurant was novel. Whether you ordered a pound of house-made breakfast sausage from the butcher counter or ventured to try an off-cut at the restaurant like corn tongue, the message was clear. The centerpiece at Merrill was always going to be the meat. This message has remained consistent throughout Merrill's expansion. The butcher counter is present at Merrill on the Go, the Birmingham takeout spot that opened in 2024, and Merrill Detroit Provisions at Merrill in the Market, the newest restaurant that opened in Eastern Market last November, is where butchers produce products for Merrill's restaurants and shops. At Merrill in the Market, the emphasis on meat-forward dishes manifests on every portion of the menu. The Market bacon, though, is a cut above the rest. The menu highlight, a dish that stood out from the rest during a recent visit, is under the shareables part of the menu. It's a work of perfection in presentation, in taste, in texture, and in execution. Read more about it at freep.com.
Hey there, everybody. This is Omari Sanko for the second Pistons beat writer for the Detroit Free Press. On this week's episode of our podcast, The Pistons Post, Bryce Simon and I were joined by Free Press columnist Sean Windsor to discuss the team's March struggles and where they stand a month before the playoffs. Here's a quick snippet of our conversation.
And I don't know how much you guys have talked about this whole narrative that they're a try-hard team. To me, is just ridiculous, that it's all about effort. There's a difference between effort and try hard and their defensive talent. But that defensive talent doesn't work if they're not paying attention, and they got to be connected. Obviously, when they don't have Thompson, it all goes out the window. But if every team could play defense the way they do by trying hard, then every team in the playoffs would be a good defensive team. And that's just not the case. They are a gifted physically and skill at the skill level defensive team. And they have lost their way with that a little bit. And to me, I'm going to be curious, as they've gotten back a little bit. To me, the rest of the season, I'm going to be curious to see if they can get that back, because that's how they're going to survive in the playoffs.
I agree with you. I think it can be disingenuous or unfair to call them a try-hard team. I do think they play harder than some teams do on a night-in and night-out basis. But I do think there's been a step back.
You can hear that full conversation in this week's episode of The Pistons Post, which is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, you can find our latest coverage on freep.com/sports.
Find more from the Detroit Free Press on freep.com. That's FREEP.com. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, and you'll hear more from us Monday.